What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel here. So today I did want to talk about some things I really do like about Forza Horizon 5, or I guess you could say the features in this game that got me excited as a new player. Now I do want to point out right now I am going to be making separate videos going over multiple things I talk about in this video, but I did want to talk about a few things I noticed kind of early on playing the game and a few things I really do like about it. There's going to be a lot of features, just overall things about Forza Horizon 5. Now, as always, this is going to be from a first-time Forza player, so you could probably be like, okay, well, this dude's not going to be biased, or like, go, okay, well, this game's going to be bad or something like that, because this is legit the first one I have ever played, and I do admit, so far, I am insanely impressed. I'm really enjoying it, and I kind of have a feeling that some other games are most likely going to be collecting dust for a while. But with that being said, the first thing I did want to add into this is going to be the car list. I mean, come on, it's kind of obvious, guys. The car list in Forza Horizon 5 is legit going to be untouchable. I mean, the builds and the things you can do on this game, you just can't do in any other racing game. And on top of not being able to do those builds, you're also going to see cars in this game as a car person, and you are most likely instantly going to get hooked. Some of which are going to be some of the most requested cars that are not in other games yet, like the lovely Lamborghini SVJ for one. We're then going to have the lovely Lexus LFA as well. People are asking for the Hellcat Durango, the Trackhawk. Guess what? Every single vehicle is going to be in this game. Now, some people are probably going to argue that, yeah, some of the cars might not sound that great. To be honest, that is probably going to be fairly true, but I really haven't taken notice or really got too annoyed or go, okay, well, this car sounds awful, like I'm not going to be that insane on it. The fact that we're going to be able to actually drive the said car that we like in the game, I feel like that is going to be a win. I mean, heck, being able to build certain vehicles, one of the first cars I actually bought on the game was probably going to make a lot of people laugh, and I feel like they'd be like, bro, what? That is going to be the Hyundai Veloster N. I've always been a fan of it. I also do like the Elantra, and I feel like the Veloster N and that entire line is so dope. And it's kind of insane how I know like a lot of games are probably never going to have something like a Hyundai Veloster. And like we all do know, guys, there's basically no other game on the market that is going to have a car list like Forza Horizon with the customization, with the stuff you can do. We just gotta be real, man. Like, it's legit going to be that dope. If you love cars, if you love cruising around, if you like racing, I feel like Forza is going to be a great game, and you're most likely going to love it, especially because a car that you do like is probably going to be in this game. Now, one of the other things I do like about this game is also going to be the entire backstage thing. Now, I do understand this is going to be something that's going to help with the entire, like, FOMO things. You can get vehicles, or you can vote on them and bring some of your favorite cars back and all that, or bring cars that you might have missed. So at least it is going to give players an opportunity to go back and get them. And we all do know there's going to be a lot of cars in this game, so if you can find a few that you do like, at least you can go in there, spend a pass or two, and get some of the cars that you did end up missing. I think that's a pretty dope thing. Speaking of the entire backstage pass thing, the other thing I also really like, or the other feature I guess you could say here in Forza, is going to be the auction house. I do know some people are saying not to get like addicted to it. Now, there's a few vehicles I am looking for, and trying to go in there and bid some of them is probably going to be challenging. And the reason for that is I'm very new to the game, so I also don't have a ton of money at the moment, so that's probably going to play a big role. Once you do end up getting more money than probably going after vehicles you do want, then it is most likely going to be easier. But it's so dope that you can actually have different vehicles and sell them. Not only that, but you can also make money on the cars, or maybe sell cars to people that don't have them. Maybe you might have a few of them or something like that, and then you want to give them away to somebody. I think that's pretty dang awesome. We all do know a lot of players are probably never going to sell one-off cars and stuff like that, because that would not make any sense. But at least you can probably get vehicles that are going to be on the rare side and jump in there, buy some of them, or like, bid that, maybe go make more money. That way you can buy the cars outright if you really want it or something. I feel like having the auction house, being able to sell cars, buy them, is such a dope feature. Basically, no other racing game I know of has something like this on that scale. So that's also going to be a pretty dope feature as a new player that I really did like. Now, I do understand that a lot of this isn't going to be new to Forza Horizon, but I guess you could say it's going to be new to someone like me that has not really played a Forza Horizon game, so seeing things like this is going to be pretty dang amazing. Now, a few of the other things I also do like about this game a lot, guys, I'm going to be in the menu here. I did want to show this. We all are going to know that the game is also going to have the festival playlist here, which again I am going going to be doing a guide on this, hopefully starting next week. I'm still trying to progress in the game and stuff, but I really do love the festival and the way this thing is designed. There's going to be so many different rewards you can get, and heck, bro, there is literally weekly challenges, and you also have daily challenges getting you points onto the entire Forza Horizon Festival. Again, I am going to make videos on the entire weekly and daily challenges because I love it. I've actually been requesting things like that in other certain games, and currently they don't really have much of anything like that, but it is going to have a really nice mix of events, different things you can do, and the best part is everything you do, bro, is also going to reward you with some pretty dope items. I love that. And in fact, though, I love the way the festival playlist is designed here that I'm also going to make a separate video talking about how this thing is done so well. And I feel like it really is a good way to do this overall with the entire design of it, especially down to the fact that anybody can jump on and basically go after the rewards here. The next thing I did want to add into this, though, is probably not necessarily going to be a feature, but something I'm generally happy that Forza doesn't have, which is going to be the nitrous. Now, I would say people are going to be like, Block, what are you talking about, bro? This might sound kind of dumb, guys, but I'm kind of genuinely happy there's no nitrous in the game, because I do feel like in a lot of other racing games, which don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing, but I do feel like people are always so dang reliant on the nitrous in certain places, or not having nitrous makes the car so dang slow or it pretty much struggles without it. I like the fact in Forza how you can actually race and have a lot of power out of your vehicles, and none of them have to be reliant on nitrous. I think that's pretty dang dope. I do understand Motorfest is going to have nitrous. You know, the Need for Speed franchise basically always had it, so I do understand that to a certain extent. It's not going to be a terrible thing, but it's kind of nice and also a different change, I guess, having that in here in Forza. So in some ways, I kind of feel like players might also enjoy the fact that you're not going to have to use like the nitrous thing or something like that as like a crutch, or that is pretty much the only way to make a vehicle quick. One of the other things, speaking of all the shops and all that, similar to the auction house or like the auto show or something, you are also going to have, besides the Horizon backstage, you're also then going to have the Forzathon shop here, which I gotta admit, this is also another cool way to buy things. You can get a backstage pass, or you could buy some of the vehicles, like we have the Subaru 22B that was in this one. We're then going to have the Chevrolet drift truck down there. You then have the wheel spins and all that. So it's going to add on to another currency you can add and stuff like that, and, you know, get more of when you're playing the game, to go and buy even more special items that you might not be able to get in other places, or, you know, add on to more of the stuff that you already have. I feel like that's pretty dope. It's also going to add on to something that you can grind out more of and get other things and all that. So I feel like having more content, more things to buy in the game and also go after it is probably never going to be a bad thing. That is probably the other feature I most likely love about Forza, is there is a lot of stuff to do in the game. I do know people are going to argue and say, just wait till you beat the game, Blocked in Sight, and there's not going to be anything to do. And well, yeah, about that though, we all can agree right now that basically most of the racing games on the market basically also do not have much of an end game whatsoever to them. Like, for example, once you play through them, you're like, okay, well, what do I do now? Funny part is, I would say Need for Speed Unbound had a pretty dang good end game, or at least a multiplayer design to it, even though that game was loaded with issues, and now unfortunately it's going to keep the issues forever because EA decided to abandon it and not fix it before they abandoned it, which is honestly insane though. But even with a lot of the games not having an end game, guys, I still feel like there's a lot to do, especially with the car list here in Forza. There's going to be the event labs and all kinds of other things to complete, like the festival playlist and all that. So I feel like the overall end game, or the experience on this game, is still going to be pretty dang good, especially for a newer player. And if you're not going to be newer, at least now you could probably jump on a free roam, play with your friends, because we're going to have working servers with crossplay. So yeah, that's going to also add on to the quote-unquote end game, because guess what? You can now play with your friends properly and on other platforms, and on top of that, in free roam. So yeah, I feel like those are all also going to be big wins. A few other things on top of that, which I guess in some ways this might be able to be like an honorable mention thing, because I could probably keep rambling on about different things I have noticed, but we all do know the map is going to feel more filled in. We're also going to have the barn finds, which is awesome. The game actually wants me to drive around and find the little XP things around, the fast traveling things. I love small little things added into a game just like that, that's going to make you enjoy it or really have a sense of exploration. I love it. So yeah, that is probably going to be a feature. A few of the other things I did notice, which is probably also going to be like an honorable mention type of thing on top of everything else that I have talked about so far, which I am going to touch on more of this stuff in videos and probably go over it a bit more and explain it and why I actually really love it. But that is also going to be the upgrading system. I love the way you can make every car feel quick, and you can probably make the cars feel like they're really going to have power. Being able to add turbos and making the cars faster, having them in certain classes. Maybe you want the car to be a B, maybe you want it to be an A. I really do love the fact that you can put on certain parts and really get that car the top of that class or better in a certain class, and also go back to a different one as well. Like, that's a pretty dope thing I love about it, and I would say the entire class design system there is not only going to be amazing, but we all do know it's going to be great because Need for Speed Heat was very similar to it. And on top of that, I would also say Unbound kind of followed a similar thing, even though it's a bit different. But we can all tell how these similarities are there. The last thing I do like about Forza here, and again, I could probably keep rambling on, guys, and stay tuned for more videos on this stuff. But one thing I also do like, which I feel like players are most likely going to agree with, and this is also from a first-time player, I love the way the sense of speed is. It's going to be better than many other games. I feel like Need for Speed Unbound sense of speed is awful. Heats was way better. The Crew Motorfest, we all do know it's going to be a different type of game than that stuff, but the overall sense of speed in that game, it feels like if you're doing 250, it still feels like you're not even moving. I do feel like doing around 200 miles an hour driving an off-road vehicle or something like that in Forza, doing like 150, it still feels like you're actually moving. I love that. And on top of that, it really is going to feel like your car has power if you upgrade it. So a lot of dope things there that pretty much all fall into each other. But besides all of that, though, do let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. You can be a new player just like I am, or you can also be a veteran type of player being on this game for a while. What are some of your favorite features in Forza Horizon, guys? Do let me know in the comments below. And so far, one thing I've also noticed with me being a new player jumping on this game, guys, playing Forza Horizon for the first time ever, if anybody else is going to be new jumping on this game, I'm going to say it again, you are definitely going to be in for a treat. Us PlayStation players are now going to have one of the best racers that we currently have on the market, and now everybody can play this game together, get different things and all that. Really is going to be great for the entire genre.